Within a year plus, we've achieved our goal of making tech mainstream, which is you will see people commenting like, oh, I'm from Zaria, I'm from Taraba, I'm from Yola, I'm from Kaduna. And
we noticed that there was just too much focus on Yaba, and there seemed to be an agenda to force Yaba to be what it was necessarily not.
Prior to then, we had been thinking about covering Nigeria more.
Techpoint Tours was my brainchild, was my idea. And that was because literally a couple of months down the line, I was bored.
I do not like to work with reported stories. I like to see things for myself.
we didn't even know if there is a company in Kaduna. We didn't even know if but we know like people that read this thing, they're humans. They are not just tech people in Lagos. They are everybody across Nigeria and across the world.
Presented an opportunity to showcase what was in the North, as I believed at the time that innovation could be universal.
This actually proves the point after that trip that innovation was not just in Lagos.
We had a culture of innovation. I know that it's a word that is bandied around a lot if you work in tech, everybody say they are innovating, they are disrupting, but we had a true culture of innovation where it seemed insane looking at it from outside in. It is insanity when you think about it in retrospect. We did a madness.
That round table, just that table, we all seated around the table, and that was the newsroom. That gave us the opportunity to just bounce ideas off each other.
So what happened with Techpoint Tours was, we see some of our comments, our readers, and we realize like within a year plus, we've achieved our goal of making tech mainstream, which is you will see people commenting like, oh, I'm from Zaria, I'm from Taraba, I'm from Yola, I'm from Kaduna. And
there was too much focus on the ecosystem. Like when I say the ecosystem, what I mean is there was just this rotation or this circulation of the same people being talked about.
Our office was right within Yaba at the time, so everything was happening. Like we had foreign press coming to cover events happening with startups and all, right within Yaba. So Yaba was like, or Yabacon Valley, like it used to be called, was the new bride. Everybody was toasting them. They were the happening guys.
When we talk about Nigeria, a lot of times from a socio-economic perspective, it's Lagos. Then you add a bit of Abuja and maybe throw in some Port Harcourt. 1, 2, 3, 4 places, but it's largely Lagos, yeah. And we had Nigeria, where everybody was talking about tech. There was a lot already happening at that time in these places that we are sort of aware of. But because this is what everybody thought Nigeria was, Lagos, all the stories are coming out of Lagos. And at some point, it became saturated.
It's always about the cool young guy building something, which is nice, but that cool young guy building something is able to do it because there's a system specs or a computer warehouse group or Homa Tech that had made some of these things either possible or viable or sensible, right? So we noticed that there was just too much focus on Yaba, and there seemed to be an agenda to force Yaba to be what it was necessarily not, right? I mean, it's okay to have a cluster, but they can have more than one cluster, right? Even in the US, that we have Silicon Valley, I think there's also Boston and Chicago and different communities in a lot of these places. And also, it wasn't clear that Yaba was necessarily the place because it had its issues like with space, some other infrastructural issues, which eventually we turned out to be prophets because a lot of people started leaving Yaba, right? Because it was not just enough, good enough for what they were trying to build. So we just always felt like there's something out there outside of Yaba. Because again, when you interview people, you are interviewing OGs. When I'm talking OGs, real OGs, people who are, you don't know them, but it's because they did something that what you're doing today is possible. You are interviewing these people, like interviewing people like one of the founding members of the NCC and NERA and all of that. The ease with which you're able to buy domain names today, she played a major role in that, right? When you're talking to people like that and they're mentioning things and, or stories that they mention, that they tell you, you are realizing that it's not just Lagos that everything is happening now. So there was always that, that desire to explore outside of Lagos. And I think even before then, we tried to do a lot of stories outside of Lagos, of course outside Nigeria too, with Kenya coverage. So I remember it was a brainstorming meeting we were having randomly. And then I knew it, I believe it was Ifeanyi. I just said,
Techpoint Tours was my brainchild, was my idea. And that was because literally a couple of months down the line, I was bored, right? Not bored from doing the work, but bored from the fact that a lot of the work we do were covered from within the office, sitting down and doing the stuff that we do.
and then Ifeanyi was like, okay, if you keep saying we need to do more stories out of Lagos and it's difficult, why don't you just close the office and just take everybody and tour, go and actually set up office in these places?
I'm like, we can make that happen. And I remember interviewing Jason then. I'm like, oh, we wanted to do this. And he was like, yeah, we can put something to support you guys. Then, it's early stage, everything is difficult, all those things. And also GIGM, they're a transportation company. We can support you guys. And that was why we started let's do it. It was scary. Packing my entire team in a bus for 2 weeks or how many weeks?
How we landed in northern Nigeria, for a start, I don't remember.
And that was one of the best things that happened to us.
We hosted part of the Abuja leg of the Techpoint Tours, which was important because it was aligned with my own worldview at the time. I grew up in Kaduna and I've always felt that innovation doesn't have to be just in Lagos.
So we started from Abuja, where we were at, and we went to Ventures platform, it was Venture Park then.
And so we decided to support the initiative, and so provided workspace while they were in Abuja and other facilities they needed.
They organized a sit out with founders and all of that. We spoke to them about the essence of storytelling, why they needed to get their stories out there.
After that meetup, we feel like, we actually have an audience outside Nigeria, outside Lagos rather, because the number of people the Ventures Park guys even were like, okay. I don't think they've ever done a meetup with that because we had to use outside.
We went to KD, Kaduna.
We didn't even know if there is a company in Kaduna.
I remember the hosting company we discovered in Jos that has a majority of its customers in Lagos.
I remember in Jos, we met a guy that was using the power of the sun to dry fish versus the regular way people were drying fish.
And we were proving right. There were a lot of interesting things going on there.
When it comes to tours, there were people who were actually in charge of tours. And myself behind the scene was just to be asking questions. Oh, are you doing this? Are you doing that? And we did have all the we had the itches,
we fought ourselves.
Maybe somebody was supposed to book an hotel, you didn't book. Nobody likes the hotel. Is this what we are eating? Are we eating from? We had all the itches, or are we eating from a roadside booker?
We were all watching out for each other. I was the only girl there.
We know each other better.
I was the official photographer on the trip, and I needed to be editing the pictures and providing the pictures on the go. Luckily for us, we had 2 different cinematographers that volunteered. They basically volunteered. These were established people.
People were nice. We had free food. We were in government house in Kaduna. We met with, I don't think we met with the governor or something, but we were in government house everywhere. People were just welcoming us.
We met people that were doing innovative things, but their stories were not being told, which was the essence of this trip. To tell stories, unknown stories, unheard stories. And I think we did that.
I think in 2018 or 2019, if I can remember, we started to tour different countries as well. We toured states, so we were doing Techpoint Tours on an annual basis from November to December period, if I'm correct, where we go to a particular region. So we did the North in 2016 or 2017. And then we did the East in 2017.
Techpoint Tours, welcome to Innocent Vehicle Manufacturing Company.
I think we did the West, that's Southern States in 2018.
From that tour, I wrote an apprenticeship story, which I particularly liked because it was more real life. Because we had met people in person, and it was just documenting the things I have seen rather than following up on a story online.
After that tour, you began to see startups from Uyo being featured in newspapers, other media houses. Prior to that, it wasn't a thing.
It went beyond my thinking because I pitched the idea to the team. Let's shut the office down. Let's travel outside of Lagos. Let's pick a number of cities that we want to go to. Let's find a team that would that would fit, right? And
We were just figuring it out as we were going.
But people were everywhere supporting us, coming, giving us whatever we want.
It's definitely one of the pivotal points in the growth of our ecosystem.
I think we're able to show that tech wasn't just a Lagos story or a Yaba story. It was a Nigeria story, it was an Africa story, and it was our job to tell it.
When we came back, we saw a lot of people from there like, it's time for us to also host a conference.